फिर वो बोलेंगे हाँ तो फिर कर देना, ठीक है?
ओके मैम, आप भी हो, मेरे को पता नहीं था,
हाँ
सॉरी। हाँ भाई, एंड स्ट्रीम आ रहा है।
एंड स्ट्रीम आ रहा है?
हाँ हाँ, वीडियो तो चल रहा है 19 सेकंड पर, तू लाइव जा चुका है? यहाँ तो मैम सीधा एंड स्ट्रीम का वो आ रहा है।
प्रतीक तो अपनी स्क्रीन प्रेजेंट कर देना, 1 मिनट अपन को दिख जाएगा क्या दिक्कत आ रही है।
एक सेकंड।
यस मैम।
It is live now and let us not do anything. सर आएंगे and उसमें ही हम लोग ज्वाइन हो जाएंगे, ठीक है?
ठीक है,
यस
मतलब चालू हो चुका है ना?
हाँ
ठीक है, क्योंकि टाइम भी हो गया है तो चालू होना ठीक है।
Good evening, sir.
Am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Guys, camera is not working, I think. I think my camera is not working. May I join again?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Okay, my laptop camera is not detecting right now. So now am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So we can go further.
Yes, sir. So we are live, sir. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day 5 of iTalk series on Internet of Things by Mr. Saket Kumar. Thank you so much for joining. And without a further ado, let's start the session. So I would like to hand over to you, sir.
Yeah. Hello, guys. So today is the last day and fifth day of this workshop. And in the last 4 days, we covered the the Arduino and the different sensors and display also. And today we are going to see the Raspberry Pi and Raspbian OS, so that you will be aware about the Raspberry. Raspberry is not a small thing. It's a basically a complete. You can see CPU, central processing unit, right? You can make your own laptop or own computer through this Raspberry Pi. Even you can convert your smart TV into a computer through the small board. So I will start the introduction and then the basics of this Raspberry Pi, how to set up Raspberry Pi in the system. So just a minute. Okay. Is the screen visible, Anmol?
Yes, it is available. Yes, it is.
So guys, already we discussed about the Arduino and about the Node MCU, and you already seen the data, how to upload data on the server through the internet, and how to control the servo motor and DC motor through Bluetooth module. And also you see the application which is freely available for the Android, through which you can connect the Bluetooth device with your Arduino board, right? So you can connect the Arduino Uno, Arduino Nano, Mega, any board through the sensor and through the ESP8266. So we already seen cloud things speak, right, in last 4 days. Today we are going to discuss about the Raspberry Pi. So we have different version of the Raspberry Pi. Right now I have Raspberry Pi 3.0 B plus, right? So this is a small board. You can see the board size, and you can estimate the size of the board through my fingers, right? So the board size is very small. It has a processor inside the board. We have 4 USB port in the board, one LAN cable, right? One HDMI through which we can connect the display through this board. Then power port. This is for power. Audio jack, and you can see the card slot. You can use 32 GB card for this Raspberry Pi, right? The recommended card is minimum 8 GB, but in the 8 GB you cannot use all the functionality of your operating system, right? So you need to use it, at least you need to use 16 GB card, then it will work properly, because your hard disk is the memory card, your RAM is the memory card, everything is your memory card. So this Raspbian OS distribute the memory space of this memory card between 2 or 3 different spaces, right? It also extract the size for RAM through this memory card, right? So I am using 32 GB memory card. So 32 GB memory card is little bit better for this Raspberry board, because it needs lots of memory when you install OpenCV and Python and other thing, right? So let me insert it. So you can insert your memory card like this, in the Raspberry Pi board. We have also a smaller board than this Raspberry Pi Zero. You can see the on internet the size of the board is just like this, and here you have different GPIO pin through which you can connect your display or other devices, other sensors, right? Or you can also connect the motor. Here is the pin where you will connect it. This is the connector where you can connect your camera, right? So I also connected the camera through one of my board, which is already packed in this board. This is a Google box, you can see. It has a speaker, right? It has a camera. So I will show you a demonstration how this camera will work and what is the functioning of this camera in this Raspberry Pi board. Inside this box, I have the Raspberry Pi inside the box. Also, I have a voice ad, right? I recently made OK Google in this box, right? The license has been expired because OK Google is free only for 6 days or 2 weeks. So I use OK Google in this box. When I press this button, then we can say the command OK Google, what is the name of the capital of India? Then it will start saying as a Google Assistant. So you can make your own Alexa also in this Google box. You need this box, a speaker, a push button, and a voice hat with Raspberry Pi, which support the Raspberry Pi. So let's see one by one, then we will go with the project. So this is Raspberry board, and we have different boards also. So first, what we need to use this board, right? First, you need a keyboard, a mouse, and a display, right? It's a general components which need to use this board. So whenever you will interface this board or you will see the tutorial on internet, then you will get these three. They will demand these three things: a LCD display, or a TV, or a keyboard, and a mouse, right? Through these things, you can interface this Raspberry Pi board. So I will show you how to interface with the screen. If you have a LCD screen, then how can you use this Raspberry Pi in the screen? And if you don't have the screen, it means you don't have the smart TV or any other type of display, then how can you use this Raspberry Pi board in your laptop, right? You can also interface your laptop with this board, and you can use the display of the laptop to use this board, right? The operating system will be seen in the laptop, and you can perform any task in this Raspberry Pi board through your laptop screen. You doesn't need keyboard and mouse and other things, right, to access this Raspberry Pi board. So we have two methods. One, if you have display, mouse, and keyboard, and the second, if you don't have these things, then how will you interface this board? How you will interface this board with the laptop, right? So first, we need few things to start this board. The first thing which you need is the software, right? First, you need to First, you need a Raspberry Pi OS, right? So just write here Raspberry Pi operating system, and you will get the latest version of Raspberry Pi. Try to take it from the official website of Raspberry Pi. If you will open this, then you will get operating system images, right? The different types of supported images are there. Raspberry Pi OS with desktop, Raspberry Pi OS with desktop and recommended software, Raspberry Pi OS Lite version is there. You can see the size of the version. It's 3.267 MB. It's a desktop recommended software, right? It's a imager. It's not complete OS. It will start imaging. Sorry, it's 3267 MB. And then here you have 1246 MB, right? So 1 GB approximately, and it's approximately 3.5 GB. Then you can see the Raspberry Pi OS Lite, that is 482 MB. So you can download any of the version of this Raspberry Pi. It's completely free. If you have a 64-bit Raspberry Pi OS, then it's compatible with 3B, 3B plus, 3A plus, 4, 400. These are the compatible board for OS. And here, all Raspberry Pi models. You can download these OS. It will support all the models. But few today the software are made on 64-bit. So if you want 64-bit OS, then you can also download 64-bit 3B plus, which I have the board that support a 64-bit OS, right? So you can download this 64-bit OS also. Then you have the another version legacy with then another version desktop you already seen. So we have different version of this Raspberry Pi. This is Raspberry Pi board, so you can run Raspberry Pi on this board, but you can also run Windows and Linux operating system, right? So if you want Linux, Raspberry Pi, if you want Linux, then you can install Linux also, right? Linux or Ubuntu for Raspberry Pi. So it will show the official website of Ubuntu where you can install the Raspberry Pi, where you can install Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi board, right? So you can see download Ubuntu desktop 21.10, and it will work on Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Pi 400 and Raspberry Pi CM4. These are the supported board for this OS, right? Then you can also make it server, Ubuntu server, so you can download the server version of the Ubuntu, and these are the boards on which this version has been supported. Then Ubuntu core, we have different version of Ubuntu. If you are familiar with Ubuntu, then you know about the versions, different versions. It's a completely command-based operating system, but Ubuntu gives little bit graphical user interface to the user, right, in the desktop version. So you can use Ubuntu. So what should we do when we download these OS? After downloading these OS, you need to download another software that is called as Baleno Etcher. Right? Balena Etcher, sorry. This is the software which will help you to upload the software in the drive, right? You will get this window when you will open this software. I have the software, so I can open it. Balena Etcher. So when you will open this software, you will get the same interface, right? Where you will select the image of the Raspberry Pi, and then you will select the drive, and it will flash the drive, right? So the memory card will get the operating system, and then you will insert this memory card in the Raspberry Pi board. See, this is a software through which you can upload the operating system, and you can make the bootable memory card, right? It's a one software which is freely available, but you can use any software which is provided by the Microsoft to make the bootable pen drive or bootable memory card. So you can use these options, and you can upload the OS in the memory card, right? So this is the first software etcher which you need to upload the OS in the memory card. Okay, so we get the operating system, we can upload the operating system in the memory card. Now the next step. Next step is you need a LAN cable for this purpose, because if you will connect this Raspberry Pi board with your system, right, or if you have a screen like this, you can see the screen. I have this screen right now. You can see the screen. Yeah. like this. This is the LED TV which I have, and I can easily communicate with this if I have the HDMI cable, right? So I have this board and I have the HDMI cable, so I can connect the LED screen with the HDMI cable, and it will show the operating system which is installed in this Raspberry Pi, right? So let me show. So let me show the operating system which is available in the Raspberry Pi board. Okay, so let me connect this. I have this HDMI cable, this one. You can see the HDMI cable, right? So I am just inserting this HDMI cable in the Raspberry Pi board, and I have the memory card in which I already flashed the operating system, and I'm connecting this with the TV or the screen which or the monitor which I have. Give me a minute. Okay. Now the screen has been connected. So you can see the board which I have, and I already connected this board with the screen, and I'm starting the screen. So you can see the first interface of the Raspbian OS. Okay, so you can see the blue screen right now. Now I'm connecting it with the HDMI. Right now it is showing blue screen, right? So why? Because the Raspberry Pi is not powered up. So I'm just giving power to the Raspberry Pi board, and now you can see the board. Now you can see the first screen of Raspberry Pi. This is the first screen of Raspberry Pi OS. Okay, so you have the first screen. You can see the options here. We have different options. You can see the Wi-Fi option there. Right now the Wi-Fi has been connected with this Raspbian board. Now we need to connect. If you have this Raspberry Pi, this screen, then you can connect your Raspberry Pi board You can see the Raspberry Pi board. You can connect this Raspberry Pi board with a mouse and you can operate this system. It is just like operating system, so simply you will feel like window. But few things is different in this Raspberry OS. It's a command-based software. It's the command-based operating system, so you can install any software with the terminal. Here we have the terminal. So you can see the terminal right now. Okay, so and this is the Wi-Fi option here. Right now the Wi-Fi is already connected with this Raspberry Pi board. You can see in the one side we have Wi-Fi board option. Okay, and this is VNC server. So what should we do if we don't have these screen? Right now just I flashed the memory card and I connected this Raspberry Pi board with the monitor, and you can see the interface and you can use the Raspberry Pi board. But what happens if you don't have this this screen? Then how can you use the Raspberry Pi board without this screen and the mouse and keyboard? Okay, so let's start that tutorial. So I'm just removing the power button. It will so simply, if you do not have these facilities, you do not have the extra display in your home, so what you will do with the Raspberry Pi and how you will make the project in the Raspberry Pi if you don't have these things. Okay, so the first thing you need a software which we say Putty. Putty is the name of a software which is required to interface this Raspberry Pi board without any display, right? That is name as Putty. So I am just giving the power to this Raspberry Pi board. You can see the red light. Okay. So now let's start the tutorial first. If you don't have this LCD screen and mouse, so the first software you need operating system, then you need Balena feature which will flash your memory card, and the next software which you need is download Putty. Okay. So Putty is the software which support SSH, right? So you need to download this software Putty. So, and you can see the software how it looks. It looks like this. Okay, so you have this Putty, and when you will install this Raspberry Pi OS or Raspberry Pi board, then it should enable SSH, right? So initially, how you will enable this SSH and how you can connect the Raspberry Pi board with the Putty, because initially when you will install this OS, then you will not get SSH enabled and VNC server enabled. So for that purpose, you need to connect that Raspberry Pi board with your system. So for this, you need a LAN cable, right? You need a LAN cable, because without LAN cable, you cannot get the connection between your system, your laptop and your Raspberry Pi. So just connect the LAN cable in the LAN port like this, okay? And you can connect this LAN port in your laptop. Okay. So right now you connected the LAN port. You can see the signal. Here we have yellow light right now. Okay. So we connected the LAN cable in the Raspberry Pi. Now, after connecting the LAN cable, you need to write here the username Raspberry Pi dot local. Okay. And you need to open the window. Then you will get a login ID and password, right? So the default username and password for this Raspberry Pi board is Pi. So you will use Pi as a default user and then Pi as a password. And if you will get the Pi username and Pi password, then it will open a command prompt and it will log in into your Raspberry Pi board. Right? You can see the Pi at Raspberry Pi board. Now, if you have this Raspberry Pi board operating system terminal, then now what should we do? Because we need a complete interface of the operating system. We need the same screen which we see in the screen, which we see in the monitor. We want the same screen in the laptop. So for that purpose, you need to download another software which name as Vnc Server. Vnc Server for Windows 10. So you need this software Vnc Server, right? This is the Vnc Server for Windows. So you will install this Vnc Server. Now let me show you the server name. Vnc Viewer, it will install here. When you will download the Vnc Server, then it will show in the name of it Vnc Viewer. Just open this. You can see lots of monitor here. And what is this? We will discuss it later. This is the software Vnc Viewer which you need to install in the system. Right? Then, after installing this, let's go to PuTTY. In the PuTTY, you need to open the configuration file of the Raspberry Pi board. When you will open the configuration file, then it will help you to set up the server and enable SSH in the Raspbian OS. So for that purpose, we need to see the command. If you don't know the command, you can see config command in Raspberry. So you will get the command for this sudo raspi config, right? So we can use this command. If you don't know, if you are a beginner of this Raspberry Pi, then you can use this command sudo raspi config, right? So when you will insert this command, you will get this window, right? You can see the window. Here we have system option, display option, interface option, performance, localization, advanced, update, everything. First, you can go with the system option. Here you can see wireless, right? Then audio, password. You can change the password of your system from here. Then you have host name. Then you have boot option. You want command line or a desktop, right? So you can choose the auto login with desktop or command line. If you will choose command line, then it will open a black screen and you can work on the command prompt. But if you choose auto login select boot into desktop, then it will open a desktop interface which you already seen in the monitor, right? Then we have power LED and everything. Now we'll go back. Then here we have display option. In the display option we have resolution, right? Underscan, pixel, screen blanking. These functionality you can set these things in the Raspberry Pi. Then we have interface options. Here you can see the camera. You can enable the camera feature. So my camera is enabled, so I'm just enabling the camera, right? Then I will again go to the interface option. We have SSH option. So we need to enable this SSH also. So just click enter and you can click like this. Then it will enable the SSH server, right? Then again go to the interface option. You need to enable Vnc server also. Then only you can use Vnc Viewer. So just click on it and click yes. Then it will enable Vnc server also. Again you can go with the interface and you can see camera, SSH, Vnc all are already enabled, right? So, and I don't need SPI and I2C, but it has the protocol. You can use this SPI and I2C connectivity. Then you have serial port, iWire, then remote GPIO. So you can use this, you can enable these features also. But right now I don't need this feature. I will go back. Then we have performance option. You can see the performance option. You can see the fan. If you are using a fan with this with the cover of this board, then GPU memory overlock, right? So these are the system settings, so we doesn't need to touch these settings. Then we have localization option, time zone and other thing, right? We can configure the time zone here. You can see it will show the time zone. We can choose different time zone here. We have, so I'm choosing Indian Ocean, right? So you can see in the Indian Ocean these things, these countries. So I don't think that this option is correct. You can choose Asia. In Asia, you will get the different option. See, we have different states here to which we can choose. So you can choose Kolkata because we normally follow Kolkata time zone. So just click on OK. It will already updated the time zone. Again, go to the, now you have the keyboard, then you can also choose the keyboard. So these are the system settings which you need to understand if you want to use it. Then we have advanced option, network interface name, network proxy settings. We doesn't need to do anything with this. Then update and then about Raspberry Pi configuration. So it will show the configuration. So we already seen all the configuration here. Just click on finish. So you can see in the command prompt we have local time is now 4 March and it is showing the local time of my system IST and UTC. Universal time is also, it is showing universal time UTC. So we already configured the Raspberry Pi. Now the next thing is to find out IP of this Raspberry Pi, because without IP you cannot use this VNC server, right? Without IP you cannot use this VNC. So how you will get IP through the because in the when you will install this operating system in the Raspberry Pi, then you will not get any wireless connection, right? You will not get any wireless connection with this Raspberry Pi board. So you need to you need to log in with this user ID, which is Raspberry Pi dot local. So I am trying to uh, create a new connection with this Raspberry Pi, and I'm trying to uh, connect it with the same username, that is Raspberry Pi dot local, right? So I'm using the same name which I used to interface this putty, right? So I'm using the same name, but for this, if you are using the same username, then you need a LAN cable to connect this Raspberry Pi board with the computer. So right now I connected the Raspberry Pi board with the computer and with the LAN cable. So I will just click on OK, and you can see a new monitor is created here. I will just double click on it, and you can see VNC server identifier has changed since last connected. Okay, so I already used lots of time this. Right now I am just entering the password and username of this Raspberry Pi, and I also check the box remember password, and I will click here. Then you can see the screen right now. I have this screen, the OS screen in my laptop. This is the VNC Viewer, where I can see the screen of the laptop. Now, if you have this screen, the first task is to connect your Wi-Fi with your Wi-Fi dongle. And when you will connect this Wi-Fi, then you will get an IP address. So I can show you the IP address here. You can see the IP address, that is 192.168.0.107/24. It means my Ethernet IP address is this, and I can connect this uh, Raspberry Pi board with this IP. So what is the need of IP? I told you, if you will not go with the wireless connection, then you need to connect your Raspberry Pi board with LAN cable, and it will always remain connected with the LAN cable, and then you will get the access of your Raspberry Pi board. But if you want to access this Raspberry Pi board through the wireless connection or through the HDMI cable, then you need this IP, right? So through HDMI cable, you can connect your Raspberry Pi board with your VNC Viewer, right? Or through IP, you can also connect this Raspberry Pi board with the laptop. So for that purpose, you need a same Wi-Fi which will be connected with the Raspberry Pi board and your system. The Wi-Fi should be same, then only you will get the access of Raspberry Pi board here in the VNC server. So I can use any feature of the Raspberry Pi board through this. You can also see the terminal, right? You can see the terminal, and I can write the command through my keyboard in the laptop. See, you can type any command, you can write anything in the command prompt, sudo install. Right, so right now the commands, I'm just entering anything, you can see here, sudo, you can see different things which will show. So you can pass any command in this window. Right now this is operating system of Raspberry Pi. So through LAN cable. Now, if you know the Raspberry Pi and it is connected with the IP, so what I will do, I will just open the VNC viewer and I will make a new connection. Oh, let me see that the connection is there or not. First, I'm deleting all the connection which I already made so that it will not overlap the system. Okay, right now I have only Raspberry Pi local, right? And it is connected with this. So I am accessing the IP address of this Raspberry Pi board, which is here. And I will again make a new connection, and here I will write the IP address 192.168. Let me check the IP address again. 0.107. 0.107. Right, this is the IP of Raspberry Pi, and I will click on OK, and again I will click on it, and you can see it will show a message. Vnc Viewer has no record of connecting this Vnc server, but its identity matches that of another known Vnc server. It means the Vnc server which is already executing in the Raspberry Pi, it is detecting the IP address of that Vnc server. So let's continue it. Then it will ask for the password and username. Just enter the password and username and click on remember, and it will okay the username and password. And you can see the password is, which is here. And now I have two windows right now. You can see the window because I have the Wi-Fi connection. So I just connected the Wi-Fi with this software. The one window is running with the LAN cable, and the second window is running with the Wi-Fi. So you can see when I am just moving the cursor in this window, then the same cursor is moving in the another window. It means both the windows are same. If I will write here any command, then it will write the same command in the second window, right? So if I will write here install, right? So you can see these are the clone of each other, and this window is connected with the IP, and this window is connected with the Raspberry Pi local. Now I am showing you something. This is the LAN cable. If I will disconnect this LAN cable from here, then you will get disconnection of this window, because this window is connected with the LAN cable. So I'm showing you the disconnection. This is connected with the Wi-Fi, and this window, the upper one window, is connected with the LAN cable. So I'm just disconnecting this window, this LAN cable through the Raspberry Pi OS, and you will see what will happen. So now okay, so now you can see this is the image, and here you can see the connection. It is not disconnected with the because I think it is taking the Wi-Fi connection. Let me close this. You can see user Pi has disconnected. Now when I close the Wi-Fi window, then it is already disconnected, but it should not be disconnected because this is connected with the LAN. So let's connect LAN again. And you can now I'm showing you the connection has not been reset. Let's open the VNC server. Now you can see I already connected the LAN cable. We have two windows right now. So if I will open this window, then it will open the Raspberry Pi OS, and it is connected with LAN cable. But if I'm closing it and I'm disconnecting the LAN cable from the Raspberry Pi, and then I will click on this, then it will not. Okay, it's connected with the IP. So you can see it is already connected with the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi has been, yeah, it's connected with the Wi-Fi. That's why it is restoring the connection of the Raspberry Pi. So if you will get the Wi-Fi connection, then it will restore the Raspberry Pi board. So you have two IPs, so you can open the Raspberry Pi OS. Now you can see This is the complete setup of your Raspberry Pi. Now, if you want to install something in this window, then there is particular command in the Linux to install anything. So if you already use Linux operating system, then it is very friendly for you, and you can install different packages here. So for the if you will see the OS here, Raspberry Pi, then first thing is to install to see the version of the Python. So you can just type here version of Python in the Google in Raspberry Pi. Then it will show you the command how to get the Python version in the how to make Python, how to give the Python version in the Raspberry Pi. So if you will write here Python, right, then it will give you the Python version, okay, 2.7.16. Okay, now you need to write here exit, then it will exit with bracket, with small bracket, then it will exit from here. Now if you want to see that the Python 3 or the updated version is installed in this or not, then you will just write here Python 3. Then you can see Python 3.7.3, which is the updated version, which is updated on 22 January 2021, right? Then again you will exit it. The first task is to perform the update. So if you will open the Raspberry Pi first time as a beginner, then the first task is to update the Raspberry Pi OS, right? So for that, you will write here sudo update. Let me see the command first. Can write on the Google, it doesn't need to memorize all the things normally. So you need to just write here sudo apt get update. So you can see the update is already running here, and it will update the latest version or the latest supporting softwares in the which is required for the OS. So if you have a good connectivity of internet, then it will finish within time, otherwise it will take so much long time. So you need to wait for this if you are doing anything right in the Raspberry Pi board. Once it will get update and it will get everything, then you can use it. So till further when it will uploading, let's see the another feature of this Raspberry Pi board. So first, what task you can perform in the Raspberry Pi board? Everything. You can install different software in this board. Let me show the software. I have the programming software Arduino. So you've seen the Arduino in Windows, but I already installed Arduino here. Right? How to install Arduino in the Raspberry Pi? So that you can connect your Arduino board with the Raspberry Pi through USB. Right? You can use this Raspberry Pi board to run Arduino software and to Arduino hardware also. You can access the Arduino hardware with the Raspberry Pi. Then we have Tony Python IDE. Here I can write the Python code. Yeah. You can see here I can write the Python code. Okay, I already write here a code for camera and for face detection. So I will show you how to use this. Right now it is updating, that's why. Okay, I just ran the update, so it is updating. Whenever you will start, you can run the update. If you are free, then it will update in the free time. So let me close it because I don't want this update right now. And I'm closing the window also. Then we have this Python software and Arduino software, right? How to install this Arduino in the through the terminal, right? You can just simply search the command to install Arduino, right? Open the official website, install Arduino in Raspbian. Raspbian is the OS name, so you can just open the Raspberry Pi official, or you can open any website where you will get the guide how to install, or you can open the Arduino official website also. You can see here the command which is required to install this Arduino software, right? Or you can see the complete, right? So you can see the command which is useful to install the software. And if you don't remember this command, just if you want to install this, you can search there. You can write sudo apt get Arduino. Apt install. Okay. Let me search it. I just try to enter the command. This is the manual method through which you can install the Arduino software, but you can also install through the command prompt. You need to, yeah, this is install Arduino. Apt install Arduino is the correct command. So if you will just write this command, then you will get Arduino software for this Raspberry Pi board, right? If you want any software which is related to the image processing, or if you want to install Python or OpenCV, then it's a complete guide. You can install the OpenCV also. Also, you can see the version of the OpenCV if you already installed it. So if you are working on Python or OpenCV, then you can use this Raspberry Pi board, and this is the best board for the user who are using Python, right? Okay, so we have this these commands already installed. Arduino, how to install it. Okay, now next you can see these things. So how to install Python, and which is required for the latest version of the Python, right? So latest version of Python install in Raspbian. You need to just write this, and it will show you the guide how to install the latest version of the Python, right? And you can follow the guide. It will show Python 3.8. Now, which version we have? Just write here Python 3. Then it will show the version 3.7 and the latest version which is available in the window 3.8. Okay, so you can see 3.8.3 is the latest version. So how to install this? You will get the complete guide to install the Python in your Raspberry OS. You can see, you can check the version of the Python also through this command. Just exiting it. And write here Python version. So you will get 2.7.1, which is the oldest version. If you will write here 3, then it will show you the next version of the Python. Okay, so I am using this. You have 3.7.3, which I have already installed. 3.7.3, right? Now, if you want the latest version, then you can search the command for this. Right? It will show the command. Download the latest Python file. So you can see this command. If you will type this command, then this command will give you the access to the latest version of the Python. So just copy and paste this. You cannot use Control V here, but you can just right click and you can paste the command here and you will get this latest version of the Python. After getting this Python version 3.9.5, you need to extract this through this command. Right, then you need to configure this file so that it will be easily available. So let's see. If you have the fastest internet connection, then it will help you to install it on time. Otherwise, it will take a very long time to install. Let's wait for the file start here. Takes some time. First, it is searching the version on the link, and then it will start download. Okay, I think the internet connection is not good. So it is taking long time to install, but it will start from here, right? You will get this Python update. I don't need this update right now, so I will close this window. Now you can also browse here. You have the Chromium browser here, so you can use the browser and you can access any link here. Right, you doesn't need to access your personal Chrome of the window. You can use this Chromium browser. You can open any website here, right? It will give you the complete support of internet. And if you want to search anything, then you can search here. Right now you can see. Okay, so you can access the Google and other things here. Now, these are the setups of the giving power to my next. You can see the window has been hanged because I just disconnected the Raspberry Pi board. You can see I just disconnected this board and I'm connecting this board, which is inside this box, with the power cable. First I will connect it with the LAN and then with the power cable. You can see it is already powered on. Now I will perform the same thing with this. You can see the putty is inactive right now. I disconnected it. Now I will again open the first software, that is putty. Okay, and I will pass the same name, Raspberry Pi dot local. Okay, and I will open this. Dot local. It is not showing this. Again, I will try here. Okay, again I will give the power to the board. Oh, the memory card is not available here. That's why it is not. Just wait, I'm inserting the memory card. Okay. Fine. Wait for 5 to 10 seconds to reboot this board and it will flash the green light. Then you can open the putty and again you can pass the Raspberry Pi dot local. Now you can see Raspberry Pi local, it is connected with this. I will just insert the password and username and it will again go with the same same connection, right? So after connecting putty, you can go to the server Vnc Viewer and you can open the Raspberry Pi local and it will again ask with the password, but it is already installed. Remember the password, then it will open directly and you can see the window, right? Now you have the LAN connection, so you can easily connect this Raspberry Pi board. Now I'm showing you an example of camera. So I have this program right now in the Python. I just written this program, and I can run this program, and it will access the camera of the Raspberry Pi board. So you can see the camera in the Raspberry Pi board, the small camera which is connected. This is the small camera which is connected with the Raspberry Pi board. Now, if you will execute this script, then it's detect the face. You can see it is showing the message face is detected. I need to just go in the front of the camera. It's hanged. You can see we can change the parameters here. We need to stop the software first, and you can change the parameters which is in the program. And decrease the frame rate, and it will help you in better detection. And also okay, so let's execute it again, and you can see the application here. The camera has been turned on. You can see the camera. The red light in camera is glowing right now. The camera has been turned on. So in the camera, you can use this camera for anything, right? You can run the code of face detection, which I am running right now. Right. So whenever the complete face will be at the camera, then it will detect, it will show a green message. Right now the resolution is not good. So I will set the resolution of the Raspberry Pi and then I can use this face detection code. Let me set the resolution first. Like window, you can go with the desktop preferences and can set it default first. So you can see the preferences of the window. Large screen, for the small screen, it will set the appearance. You can just click on OK. Let's execute again the Python code. Just because Vnc Viewer, it is showing like this. So you just seen the camera to interface this, and you can see it is written in the Python, and we use the OpenCV library for to access the face image and to detect the image, right? We already use different classifiers here to detect the face, right? So if you already set up this Raspberry Pi board with your system, then you can perform the numerous tasks here, right? And I think and you can also see the Raspberry Pi community. If you will go with the Raspberry Pi official website, then you will get a huge community here, right? And you can go with the research work, right? You can go with the computer, and you can also teach computing, start a code club, online training courses we have in the Raspberry Pi. So you can take the online courses, machine learning and AI, right? Teaching physical computing to 5 to 11-year-olds. So the Raspberry Pi gives you the opportunity to be a faculty in this platform, and you can also learn so many things in the Raspberry Pi, like programming and machine learning and artificial intelligence, computing, cloud computing, right? So we have lots of courses in the Raspberry Pi official website. So you can access this website and you can see the complete course. See, learn at home. So if you are interested in Raspberry Pi, then you can go with this. And this will be the best hardware for this, for interfacing different sensors and different, to make your own personalized computer. Now you can see if you have this window, then you can access any software here in this window, right? Through a command. So, Anmol, how many users
Yes, sir.
are today?
Sorry, sir.
How many users are today? Or it's also live?
Sir, it's live.
Okay. So I think I finished very early today's.
No worries, sir.
Huh?
No worries, sir.
Yeah, actually, I think that it will take 2 hours to elaborate, but because of no audience, nobody's asking anything. So
I get
in the
that. Yeah.
sequence, it finished very early.
Right, sir.
Yeah. So I think the 5-day workshop is good, and I deliver everything which I know. And I think the
It is really
potential
great to
connected
understand a
me
lot
for
of
this.
concepts and actually get into a deep, because a lot of people were saying ki they haven't, maybe sometimes they haven't watched it live, but they watched it afterwards or something, so they were really benefited by that.
Okay. So any query get by you on YouTube for these 4 days, or any for the previous lectures also?
Sir, once again, I'm checking. No, sir, not yet.
Okay. No problem. Can I know how many audience right now? Okay, when you will stop live telecast, then it will show the views, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So can I leave early today? It's the last day of this workshop.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Like you
Okay,
have
so I
completed
think I
all the things
completed
and
all
then
the things in the
yeah.
syllabus which is given to me
Yes.
for these 5 days. I covered all the things. And thank you guys. If you want any help from me related to IoT or related to Raspberry Pi or Arduino, then you may contact from me anytime. I think Anmol and other coordinator have my IDs, my email ID. So
Yes,
you
sir.
can
We'll
email
share
to me
that
or
with
you can text me also in
Yes,
my
sir.
WhatsApp so that I
Yes, sir.
can help you. And if you have any project related to IoT and you want to work on the project related to IoT, then you can also contact with me. I have the complete workshop here, and I always work on these electronic system.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'll share the contact number, the email address with the people. If they have any queries, they'll definitely mail you or they can text you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anmol, for the
Thank you so much, sir.
for the
Thank you
coordination.
for your time and all the session
And
that you took.
also
Thank
thank
you.
you to NIT Raipur to give me these opportunities.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you on behalf of Innovation Cell, eCell, and IT Raipur.
Okay. So shall I leave?
Yes, sir. Animesh, you can stop the live